Hey guys, so a question that we get asked a lot that I decided I wanted to talk about a little bit is how to raise little explorers. So a lot of people ask me, how do you travel with kids? How do you keep your outdoor activities going with kids? How do you raise kids that enjoy the outdoors? So I thought I would put together a little bit of an answer for that. So, it's not really a secret that kids that spend regular time outside are tougher, they have more confidence, they have more concentration, they're healthier, they do better in school, they have better problem solving skills. Overall, spending time outside is not going to hurt your child. It's going to be good for them, it's going to improve their immune system, it's going to help them be stronger. It's overall, spending time outside, being adventurous, taking risks, all that stuff is going to be good for your kid, and it's good for you. So sometimes having kids is a good push to get you outside as well. So my 3 tips, I'll start with the first one. So the first tip is to just let them go outside, let them take risks, let them break rules, let them do things that your first instinct might be to say stop, which I know I struggle with that. But the reality is you really want them to do that stuff. You want them to go outside, you want them to take risks and learn what works and what doesn't. That's kind of where the problem solving skills comes in. When they fall, they get, let me give you an example. It's kind of windy. So the other day, Della completely wiped out on her bike, flipped over the handlebars, and was way too scared to get back on the bike. Now, CJ's first reaction was to try to make her get back on the bike and be like, okay, we need to get over this fear, let's get back on the bike. But she was just not having it. So I was like, you know what, this is not the time to force her to get back on her bike. So we just waited. We told her it was okay, she could go home, she could feel better. But the next day we were going to go back out and get back on the bike. And so we did. And then about a week later, she had another pretty bad wreck. And that time she was crying, got up, and then she's like, I want to try again. And so just know that it does work. You do not have to be difficult with them the first time. You kind of need to be able to read their emotions to see how much risk they want to take. Because I've also seen parents make kids take more risks than they might be comfortable with. You don't want to do that either. But you do want to allow them to break the rules. Let them spray you with the hose. Let them dig in the mud. Let them do these things that you might not want them to do just because you don't want to deal with the cleanup, or you may be scared of them getting like a boo-boo, but it really is going to be good for them. So just let them do it. The second thing is to set aside outside time for the family and independent outside time. So regardless of their age, spending time outside with the family is great for your family. It's good to see all of you get outside. If they're older and they don't seem interested, make them do it anyway. It is a set time. Now, if they are throwing a fit or just not having it, maybe cut it short. That's okay. We've set aside an hour before and ended up coming in after 20 minutes because they just weren't having it. And we've come in after 5 minutes before because they just weren't having it. And that's okay. At least you tried. And then I think it's also important to set aside independent time. So obviously my kids are really young, so I still keep an eye on them to make sure they're not putting rocks in their mouth and stuff. But I do try to let them go outside and play outside by themselves, independently, play with each other, play by themselves, play pretend, play with the toys, figure out how rocks work, figure out how sticks work, all that good stuff. But they need to spend time outside on their own. Now, if they're older, even if they just want to read a book outside, that's fine. But make them go outside by themselves. Teach them how to garden when they're older. Teach them how to weed. Give them a chore if they refuse to play. That's fine. But just have them spend time outside by themselves. Last thing is to be an explorer yourself. Set an example. If you're not going to be able to set an example, then don't expect them to do something you're not already doing yourself. So you need to be practicing the qualities that you want to see in your kid. Practice the qualities you want to see in them as a child, which means, hey, be a little bit childish sometimes. That's okay. It's good for you to let loose a little bit. But also practice qualities that you want to see in them when they're adults. If you want your kids to be good problem solvers, then try to be a good problem solver yourself. If you want your kids to be confident, then be confident yourself. If you have problems with some of those qualities, or if you struggle in some of those areas, it's okay. There are ways to help with that. There are ways to grow in those areas. If you want to grow in confidence, try something you've never tried before, like mountain biking or climbing, and stick with it until you're good at it, because you would not believe what kind of a confidence booster that will be whenever you get back from that long mountain bike, or whenever you climb that 510 that you thought was impossible 3 months ago. You might just be shocked at how much problem-solving skills you learn from teaching yourself how to garden. Quit waiting for someone to hold your hand and walk yourself through it, and just go figure it out on your own. I want to do an intro to gardening class, but I have no idea how to garden, so all I'm going to do is say just start. That's what I've done every single year, and half my gardens died every year. But that's okay, I keep trying. So that's what we have today for the 3 ways to raise little explorers. Pretty simple, but they have worked for me, and they're always a good reminder. Hey Della, are you a little explorer?
Yeah.
What do you like exploring?
I'm funny.
You're funny. Is that what she's funny? But we do like exploring. So go out there, explore.